In the bustling, sun-drenched town of Oakhaven, nestled between a whispering forest and a clear river, a new stir rippled through the marketplace. A merchant named Cale had arrived, his cart draped in silks of impossible colors. He was a man with a silver tongue and eyes that glittered with a cunning light. From a polished ebony box, Cale produced a small, magnificent object, a flower petal that seemed to be carved from solidified moonlight. It pulsed with a soft, internal luminescence. "Behold!" Cale boomed, his voice carrying over the crowd. The sun-bloomed petal, plucked from a legendary flower that blossoms for only 1 minute atop the highest mountain. It will never wilt, never fade. It holds the warmth of the sun and brings good fortune to its owner. The crowd gasped. They leaned in, their faces awash in the petal's gentle glow. Cale was a master of deception. The petal was, in fact, a clever fake, a piece of resin with a pinch of glowing fungus and a tiny, hidden ember at its core, which would cool and die within a day. But his performance was mesmerizing, and the price he was asking was a king's ransom. From the doorway of his quiet workshop, Elian, an old woodcarver, watched. His face was a map of wrinkles carved by a lifetime of patience, and his hands were stained with the honest dust of his craft. He saw not a magical petal, but a cheap trick wrapped in beautiful lies. As the townsfolk clamored, pulling out their coin pouches, Elian stepped forward. The crowd parted for him respectfully. "A marvel indeed, Merchant Cale," Elian said, his voice as calm as still water. He held out a simple, unadorned block of pale willow wood. "But I wonder, is its beauty in the object itself, or in the story you tell?" Cale laughed, a sharp, dismissive sound. "Its beauty is real, old man. Can your wood do this?" He held the glowing petal high. "Perhaps not in the same way," Elian replied. "Give me 1 hour. If I can create from this simple wood a petal of equal beauty, one that also glows, you will admit your trickery to these good people. If I fail, I will give you my finest masterpiece, the Lion of Oakhaven, which has taken me a year to carve." The crowd murmured. It was an audacious bet. Cale, seeing a chance to discredit the old man and gain a priceless carving, eagerly agreed. Elian didn't retreat to his workshop. He sat on a simple stool in the center of the square, for all to see. For the next hour, there was no sound but the rhythmic shhhk of his carving knife. He didn't rush. His hands moved with an economy and grace born of decades of practice. Shavings of willow wood, like pale curls, fell to the cobblestones. He was not just carving a shape, he was releasing the potential trapped within the wood. He shaped a perfect petal, its edges as delicate as lace. He worked the grain, making it flow like water. When he was done, he held up his creation. It was a perfect replica of Cale's, but made of simple, humble wood. "It is a fine copy," Cale sneered, "but it does not glow." "Patience," Elian said softly. He reached into a small leather pouch and pulled out a handful of dried, crushed moss from the forest floor. He gently rubbed the fine powder into the wood. Then, he took a flask of water and poured a single drop onto the petal's center. A soft, ethereal green light began to emanate from the wood. It was a gentle, living glow, more beautiful and natural than Cale's fiery trick. The light pulsed slightly, as if the wood itself had begun to breathe. The crowd stared in silent wonder. "You see," Elian said, his voice quiet but clear, "Cale's light is a fire that will soon burn out. It is a deception. But this light comes from the wisdom of the forest. It is the truth of the wood, revealed. It can be rekindled." Cale's face went pale. He was trapped. His own petal's light was already beginning to dim as the tiny ember inside cooled. He had no answer. He could not explain the magic of honest craft. Mumbling curses, he packed his cart and fled Oakhaven, a broken man exposed not by force, but by quiet wisdom. The townspeople didn't cheer. They stood in thoughtful silence, looking at the glowing wooden petal in the old carver's hand. They learned a lesson that day more valuable than any magical trinket, that deception may shine brightly for a moment, but it is the steady, patient light of wisdom and truth that truly conquers all.